How you doing, Ralfy here, Ralfy Customs? Fucking, I've got the blur on and I'm in the tent, look. Because it's fucking out at 2 degrees when I'm watching here this morning. Anyway, we're back on our Enders VN800. There's a noisy bastard, but you know, it's bastard freezing. So we're going steady away. We're not going to go mad in these freezing temperatures. If you watch the last one, you'll know we left it ready to bend these up and see if they need notching out and getting to length. And if it's going to tie in, I think it is. I think although they appear to be, like I say, just a little bit wide, I think we'll get away with a bit of a roll in to meet the axle place. If not, we'll look at another way of doing it. But I'll get them bent off camera because it's not very fucking exotic, and then I'll show you me eyeing it up and seeing how it fits. Righto, that worked out lovely. Again, off camera because you don't want to see me putting bouncing tube. I'm not doing anything complicated here, am I? And we notched out. What I did was I laid a piece of 1.25 inches where I wanted the new one to be, and laid this alongside the job there, so it just dummied up straight. And with the roll in, it meant that the notch is not straight to the tube. I nearly did it straight and then realised the error of my ways. It would have been a fucking mile out. I'd have done it straight. So we guesstimated and marked it up, and it's dropped in all right. You can get just about level at the bottom. Sorry, I'm not filming it very well. And this plate's well in the tube, so nice joints there, and we'll weld up the ends of the tube. That'll be sorted. A little gap at the front there for full penetration, and we'll do a rosette. We'll do a plug weld. I'll drill an hole in at some stage. Could do that after we've done it even. Don't matter, does it? So we just need to repeat the same with this one. I think the difference with this one is I can't unbolt it at the front, obviously, and it's going to be a bit of a cunt to get in place, but I'll do it. Obviously, I'll do it. We'll get the 15-degree bending, which is what that one is, and we'll get it laid in and trimmed off to length and notched out. Happy days. Right, folks, we're cracking on. So what we've ended up doing is taking this plate off to get this in, because there's just not the wiggle room with the slug in there, but there is now a nice gap to fill, and we'll do a couple of rosettes again, and everything's peachy back here. We can get it level with the bottom like its counterpart, and the job's a good one. So from there we can get this box section in. I'm not going to tack this one on yet, because we're going to next put the box section in, which is for the centre post. And we need the centre post for these top engine mounts. Yeah, so we're going to replace this with shit that goes all the way down in the middle, centre post. We also need something for the bottom ones. I don't want brackets here. I'm going to put another piece in, I think. I think I'm going to put a bracing piece in. It really makes sense with this. I would at least corner that off, you know. I'll put some structure in there to make this stronger than it is because of the bolt-on job, but I think I'm going to put another one across and then just come up for these. I think that's a very good way of doing it. So we're in with the CAD, the cardboard aided design, for a bit of that action. They won't be in the way when it comes to taking it out. This marks where the original one was, and we're a little bit behind. The front of it's behind the front of where that was, so it's a little more clearance. And I've looked at the profile of the existing, and that's a little more slender, if anything, so we should be well out of the way. What that means is we can now take this over to this bit of flat bar, mark the centres. It's an inch and a quarter roll there, and 10 mil or whatever that is that end. Do the same that end and drill those 3 holes, and then get this 62mm centres, look. Sorry, from the edge to there, 62mm. So if we can get them cut out, what I'll do is guesstimate for the 1.25 inches, get that drilled with the hole saw, and then mark up 62mm for the others both ways. Bob's your answer. So we've just we've marked those out and put a centre drill in to get started. We're over at the mighty Meddings to get these drilled out, 10.5mm clearance for that engine bolt. Lovely. Right, I don't think you can see it very clearly, but what I've done now is use my file guide to clamp. I've clamped that on there with a 10mm bolt, drew around it. That's 25mm diameter. I use them as a guide for shaping the ends of plates and stuff. If you've not seen them before, you save a lot of fucking about. You bolt them up and then grind to them basically, but you can draw around them to get the shape you want. And then I've just scribed off level with the start of this hole. So off camera, I'll get these cut out and cleaned up. You don't need to see me cutting and grinding, I don't think. And then what I've also done is, this is dead square to the bench, that's dead square to this because it's held there. And then I've made that dead square, 20mm there is there. Put packers in. Use 2 bits of 10mm plate and get that nice and square, because you can't really get in with a square because you've got a bolt-on surface here. It's a little more awkward there, and these might not be running perfectly true in relation to the rest of it, so it'll be off square anyway. But we know that that's nice and square to the job, and we know that that's nice and square to that parallel. We'll get that tacked in place because there's no point making brackets fit on a bar that's not fixed. You know, we can work to the fixed bar. So I think we're ready to tack the box in, tack the tube in, tack that rail in, and then we'll get these finished off, cut off camera. We'll get them cut and cleaned up and split and held in place. And then that's that bottom loop sorted. That's that bit sorted. We can then release the kraken, can't we? We can undo the top bit because we've got it held again in the bottom there. So we can chop this shit off and then look at how we're going to bring this through for the centre post. Sweet. Right, a quick digression before we cut that bit of flat up. Yes, I am putting it off. I also want to put one across here. You know, this is all very well and good for the rear mount, but we need something behind here. We need something to put his electrics box or battery box or mount his fender off or whatever. We need one across. Now, what I've had to do, I've not got a rear sprocket. Okay, pay attention. And I like to plot the route of the chain to make sure we've got clearance, because I've been bit on the arse too many times in this situation. And I don't mean I've been bit on the arse lots of fucking times, but more than once is a shame like. So I've gone online and seen, I've not got a sprocket, gone online and seen that they have 42 teeth as standard, and that's 43. So we've measured that. It's about 9 inches. So 4.5 inches off centre, down and up. And I've put a mark and I've ran a straight edge through, and I know I'm well clear. Always worth checking. You don't want to be cutting your frame in half with the chain now, do you? I know the centre post is clear. Again, if you had side rails, like on the swing arm frames, you've got to take that into account. It's a big fucking pain in the arse if you fuck that up, like, especially when you've not got the chain and sprocket like I've not. So you have to make sure. Righty fucking oh there. So by the mighty power of television, we've got that one in I was on about, and we finished those brackets off camera. You know, when I do these, I always think that I prefer filming the mill and the lathe first. The rest of the time, there's only me here, isn't there? So it's hard to film when I'm doing this shit. When I'm bending tube, you know, what's to see me swinging off that bench a bit for a minute. And cutting and grinding is cutting and grinding. So let me know if you'd like to see more. But, you know, I'm not sure there's great interest in watching me fabricate that bracket from scratch. It's just a nice bit of cutting and cleaning up and getting right. Like, you saw the mythology behind it, didn't you? Hey, with a cardboard AD design, and then that goes on into the floppy disk just to be saved for future reference. So, right, now we have got the cradle is there. Next on the agenda for me is to have lunch, because it's lunchtime. But after lunch, I'll get a fire blanket on here and get this shit cut off and unbolt that, see what's going on there, ain't it? And then we'll look at where the centre post is going to come and how we're going to tie it in, whether we're going to put one across or just bring one down, or both. You know, whatever we do, something's going to intrude. We spoke about this. The only way I can catch this centre post, I could probably put a dog leg in the front of it and extend that a bit, or put one across and catch it that way, or whatever like. But we need to leave the room free. We need to leave this much space if we can, clear of this, because Andy reckons that if you don't, you won't get the fucking engine out. So yeah, we'll see. Have some snap and then we'll have a look.
Don't forget, folks, our Fuckstock stickers are now available in our Etsy store, link in the description below. Fuckstock, you know it makes sense.
So, after much huffing and puffing and grinding and sanding, we now have nothing at the top past that, which I think we need to extend. I've just put that spirit level there to give us an eye like. It needs to go to about where the spirit level ends this side. So I think that's the way to do it. And I think what we need to do is cut through this now. I'll cover this all up again with a piece of tin and a welding blanket. And then we'll chop through that and clean it up and look at extending it out. And then we can run the seat rails and the centre post. Well, not in that order. Centre post first, probably. And then a seat rails and a cross brace. And fucking Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. Well, more or less like, you know. So, with that cut off and cleaned up, it was just an end cap. Really. Just an end cap with this thing welded on it, whatever that's for. I'm guessing seat or something and something else. I haven't got a fucking clue. We see that is quite a bit bigger than my biggest tube, which is my standard backbone. But the saving thing there is that I can, not this bit, this is just a bit I happen to have that's had the end turned down a bit low. And that's exactly what we're going to do, only we're going to make it a better fit. So I'll go over to the saw and I've got a piece. It's been cleaned up ready, and I'm going to cut this off it, and then we're going to machine 2 inches of it down to shove up that backbone, which is not exactly round, to be fair. I've had a good measure in that the existing backbone's not round inside, no surprises, so we'll probably have a little bit of trial and error, but nothing too major. Okay folks, so we've got that chucked up. Now there's a bit more sticking out than I would like, but it won't go any further up the throat. This is as big as the throat will allow, like. It won't go up the inside of the spindle on the lathe, so we'll have to just take it steady. We only need to take 1 millimetre off, according to my calculations, so let's just touch on there. And that should be, I think this is 38. Bear with. That is 38.1. So I just set my digital readout. X equals 38.1. Enter. And we want to try at 37, so we only need to go in 1 mil. It's only 20 thou cut, which is there. And we need to go along for 50 mil, which won't take very long at all, so just bear with. I'll have a test fit after. I'll chamfer the ends once we get down to 50 mil. We're halfway there now, but I won't make you watch all the way down to 50. You can join me again when we get there. Like, there's your 50. We'll just get in with a chamfer tool and give that a thoroughly good chamfer. Like so. And now we'll have it out, because we're not bothered about having it 100% concentricity. I'll send some more, mate. I'm still freezing. I'm still colder than a fucking penguin's ball bag. Right, let's go and try it in. That won't quite go, so we're taking about 15th hour off. Like I say, it's not got to be a press fit, as long as it sits there and behaves itself, and we can go through from the outside and give it a rosette here and there, a plug weld, as we call them, in politer, then that'll be absolutely fucking fine. Let's just bring that down to that shoulder. A little bit loose is better than having to hammer it in this case, like. All going to be welded right up anyway, so that should do us. And there we go. We did have it. I don't want to have it hammered in, he says. And he pushed it in most of the way, and it was just a bit not quite. So I've tapped it in the last bit, and I can't move it in anymore. It's come here, isn't it? And this has been welded, and it's tightened up. It can fucking stay there. It means also I had enough left to trim off the back end where it needs to be trimmed off, and we're lovely for a weld in there. Everyone is a fucking winner. So that'll be the backbone extension. I'm thinking the seat rails are going to come off here as well, so it's all fitting in rather nicely. What I'll do next is look at putting the centre post in. Let's take that shit off the engine. Look at putting the centre post in, and then we can look at rear engine mounts, can't we? Happy days. Righto, it's after the weekend now, and I've had a few days doing other stuff, so we're back on. I hope the continuity might be a bit shit from the last clip to this, because it'll be like nothing for you, but it's like 3 days for me. We've cut that tube, we've notched it out nicely around the top and got it held in with the magnets. We use the old angle finder to zero it out. We zero it out on that bad boy, and then we're going 90 on there and 90 on there, and it's set dead in the middle there because of the old magnetos. So I'll get that tacked in place, and then, which I'm really looking forward to, we can sort out these rear plates. We're going to make a couple of threaded standoffs that will be inch in diameter, bored out up the arse end. We're good 15mm of 10mm thread or whatever we're going to use to bring these plates off. So when the engine comes out, the plates can go bye-bye. These standoffs won't be in the way of it, and everyone's a winner. Sorted. I'll get that tacked in, and then we're on the lathe. Right, actually, I'm jumping the gun a bit, ain't I, in my excitement to get over onto the mighty Harrison. But what I need to do first is make these plates that are going to go from here back there, then I can bolt them in and get an accurate measurement of how long these standoffs need to be. Now, we've gone through a CAD, a cardboard aided design. This was my first choice, but unfortunately it ain't got the legs, has it, you know? So I have got this one. If I line that hole up with the centre of that hole, then we'll be slightly in front of centre on that, which is acceptable, nothing wrong with that. Or we've got this one, which is going to put us pretty much on fucking centre. So I think what I'm going to do is cut two of those and probably put a relief hole in, and then go from there. So there's those plates marked out of a bit of 4mm, which is thicker than the standard. These are 5mm, which again is thicker than the standard. They're 5 on the bottom. Sorry, they're 4 on the stocker, 5 on mine. These ones are 3 and 4 on mine. So we've just beefed them up that extra bit. I've marked out the hole centres. I don't think you'll see any of this properly. I marked out the hole centres and then give myself a bit of a radius to work to see where to rough these out. I'm just going to chop them out with a plasma. Yeah, I know. It's nicer to use than the grinder at times with a cutting disc in, and it'll do that all right, I reckon. And then we'll get them tacked together and cleaned up and drilled through and fucking sorted. So I may or may not film my struggle, I mean my joys using the fucking the good old plasma cutter. Well, I think you'll agree that went rather well, train spotting. I know a friend, I've got a friend, if you know the scene, I've got a mate who did that. He actually did that. He was a bit anxious before the interview, so he gave himself a bit of chemical assistance before he went in, and when he came out, he went to clean up and he noticed he'd left traces. Anyway, moving swiftly along, we have, give those a quick clean up and the fucking on, and tacked them together. and we've gone for the relief. We're going to put a little 16mm or something in there, and then we're going to put the corresponding mounting holes in there over on the mighty Meddings. A quick digress. I've popped out this morning and had an appointment at the doctor's. I'm not going to talk about that, but what I'm going to talk about is Keith. Keith, if you're watching, Keith's popped in for a little bit of welding. He's got a cover on his exhaust and one of the clamp brackets, a little bracket, press bracket inside that takes the circuit, a clamp like, to hold it on the pipe. The welds are broke, so I cleaned it up and welded it. what I'm laughing at, when he came in, he said, "Really nice to meet you, I'll follow you on here all the time, blah, blah, blah." Oh, he said, you're shorter in real life. Thanks, Keith. Have a great one. I'll see you in a bit. With that, I'm still fucking laughing, Keith. We are now onto this is 20mm this hole. I'm not sure that's fucking held it firm enough, to be fair, like. We might need a better clamp. We might see a bit of fucking whirly-bird action before the day's out. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'll get our clamp more and drill it. I'll get our clamp more. I'll get our clamp tighter and give it a drill. It says, while continuing to drill it. We'll get this hole cut out, and then we'll drill the two clearance holes for the mounting bracket, for the engine mounts and that. Stop waffling on, Ralph. I'm still giggling. Righto. The big one's 10mm clearance, which is this one. No worries at all with the mighty Meddings. The two smaller ones are 8mm clearance. So need to go and deburr that. It's giving me a rocky road unless I can drop it in a slot, which I can't. Oh, I can. Yeah, fuck it. There we go. So we'll get on there. Come around with the clamp. Bob's your answer. Anyway, I'll get them drilled out and then I'll separate these. Oh no, I won't. Then I'll shape these. Sorry. I'll use the file guide to shape those ends. Righto, so that's the second one done. And then we come in with the old fucking DeWalt. Give them one of them. Ooh, a bit more. Sorted. So we'll get over to the bench and we'll shape these ends. We'll round those ends using the guide. I'll show you, look. Right, so we've deburred those holes. We've not done the big one actually, I need to do that. What I use now, this is 25mm diameter bit of steel, just something I spun up, and it's got an M10 thread in it. So where this is M10 clearance, we can drop the bolt through and just fix that on there, which is really difficult to do one-handed. And what that'll do is give us a nice radius, if it'll focus, to follow. So we just follow the profile of this and that'll round that end off lovely. When it comes to these smaller holes, we just put a long M8 bolt through, because it'll go down the inside of that, straight through there, nut and bolt it, follow the profile again. If there's a lot to chop off, I use a cutting disc to rough off the corners, which I might do there. Failing that, just straight in with a flat disc. And then over to the little fucking band sander for a quick tickle up. So with those cleaned up, drilled out, bolted in, they're just the same as these, but a little bit thicker and a little bit longer. Yeah, just because it would have got us too wrong. We want maximum space here, we don't want to clutter it up with this. Having something running straight across the front, so that's going to get us nicely where we need to be. What I'll do, I'm going to measure the gap now and add a bit on, because these do slit. Did it? Fucking hell, Stanley Unwin. Yeah, squirty of the roundy lube with the bolty holey sits a little bit off centre, it's a little bit forward, which is fucking great. So we'll just knock the back corner off and they'll sit in there fucking peachy. So the plate's saying over the top. They look rather nice. We'll have a measure and then we will make some threaded modules up at 25mm in diameter with an M8 thread in the end and a clearance up the bum so it's nicer to weld. You'll see what I mean when we make them. Okay, first things first, we've got this inch round bar light. I'm just going to face that end off nice and lightly, like so. And now we need to turn it down, turn the OD down. I'm going to take it down to just under 25. It absolutely is within tolerance because it's a, well, you'll see, it's a welded bracket light. And we're going to turn that along to give us a good clean and nice finish, really. Break that edge while it's cutting, we're going to take this down for a length of 50 mil. These need to be, and we need 4 of them. So I'm just turning the OD and then I'm potting off the blanks at 50 mil long, ready for drilling, tapping and counterboring. Okay, so we touch on there, like so. We know the tool's 3 mil, so we zero our readout and we wind along 53 mil, which is, come on, whoa, just over sockets like that. Again, they're going to be sanded, one end's going to be ground down a little bit, so it's not over crucial, but if we can hit it bang on we will, and we can give that a part off, just like so. Just cut nice, this steel, especially with a drop of lube, because you know why, boys, you know why. Here we go, any minute now, boosh, lovely. I'll do another 3 off camera and then you can join me again. So we then parted off and one spun around and chucked up. We can just clean that end up a little bit. A little bit more than that, please, Ralphy. Just clean that end up like so. Not too worried about the very centre because most of it's going bye-bye. Break the edge. You're right in my way, to be fair, like. We'll get in there. And now we'll look at boring the middle out. So we're coming with the centre drill, excuse me, like so. And we're going to drill this right through with a 6.8, which is the tapping size for M8. So we'll just get that centred up like so. Now we're in with that 6.8. So there she goes, Captain. And we'll just run that all the way through nice and steady like. Righto, now we're in with the old 19 mil and we're just giving this a bit of a counterbore. Want to touch on there, and then I'm going to wind my quill out until I can see 10 on the quill gauge. You can't see that, so that's there. Oh, you can just about see it if I don't zoom in editing. And now we need to go about 30 mil. So hold on a minute, it's not very happy, Charles. Oh, here we go. So away she goes, yeah. Nice and steady. I'll just check my readout again. Bear with. I'm fumbling this about a bit, so we'll just get out about level. Go 30 mil. Everyone's a winner. Righto, so get that out of the way. Clear these chips out of the way. Just break that edge. So that's all going to be shaped and ground to fit the centre post anyway, but we can still make it look nice, can't we? Now we'll flip that around if it's not too warm, which it's not, and get ready to put an M8 thread in there. In with a quick counterbore. I appear to have a slight frog in my throat. Now with everything slowed right down, we can do my dad's favourite bit. If you're watching, Dad, love you lots. We can send a nice machine tap to cut that M8 thread like fucking so. So that should go full depth pretty much, which is going to be about there. That'll do. Just reverse everything, speed everything up a little bit and withdraw. Back to forward, spin it up, and that's your Bob's your answer. That's your lot. So that is 1 down, 3 to go. I'll get them done off camera and then we'll look at how we're going to fit them onto that centre post. Right, it's all starting to happen rather quickly now, look. So we got those notched out a little bit at the back and got them tacked in place, everything's square and level. The job's a fish there, and we can swiftly move along to these seat rails now. So I've worked out the angle of the dangle and cut a couple of pieces, and I didn't bother filming me putting 2 bends in a bit of tube, just like I won't bother filming me slicing this off. But I do a little bit of maths and I work out the angle, and I know if I sit that against the side of the bench, it needs to come level with that big black line that I've marked there, look, so it ends up kind of like that. There's a guide, and then I leave a little bit. I cut a bit line shy and have an offer up. So I'm going to do that now. Righto. So, like I say off camera, we've trimmed that end. We've also marked the length, and we've got it sitting so it just covers this join, which is absolutely bob on for a bit of added strength. Not that I think it needs it at all. And that is sitting just peachy. Now, we did notch out the bottom ones, if you remember. So I've marked this one. I've mocked it up, like you've just seen, and marked it for a slot. And literally, I'm just going to drill an hole there, 12mm hole in the end of that, and slot it with a cutting disc. So again, off camera stuff that is. And then it should nestle down and sit level there like the bottom one does. We know it runs near as fuck it true. The bottom ones don't. The bottom ones angle a little bit, which is fine. The seat one's going to be nice and square. Should be absolutely sweet. I'll get that done and get this one tacked in. Then we've got one to duplicate, which we've marked the same notch in that we'll do a little bit line shy, just like we did before, and trim it up. And we've got the end marked, which we'll double check before we trim. So yeah, I'm going to just finish this slot off camera and get this one shaped up as well. So we're proper gathering speed now. Look, we've got those two side rails in. Sorry, seat rails. Fucking hell, I'm struggling with my words this morning, aren't I? And this one's slightly out that a bit way, that a bit more that way. Proper Stanley Allman again. So to give us extra clearance for the drive, for the chain and the sprocket bolts and nuts and all the fasteners. This side's happy days with the brake. There's loads of room for everything. All that's left is to put one across there, which will be about where it was on the standard swing arm, 14 inches from the centre of the wheel, which gives an inch clearance. So I'm going to emulate that like I have on the bottom, and that'll be happy days. I'll get a bit cut, get it trimmed up, get it tacked in, and then we can stand back and have a look. Et voila! So we've got the seat rails in, we've got the matchy braces, top and bottom. Fucking good lineup. Of course they're a good lineup. Right, we've got atlas rail in this brace. We've got everything tacked in place. I'm extremely happy that the engine's going to come out because there's more than enough room around it. There's more room than there was when it came in, so I'm not too scared about that. There are not a couple of things. There's one thing I'll speak to Mr. Andy about. There's a little bracket on the back of the standard, wherever they fucking are. It's over there on the swing arm. On the back of the standard axle plate for an adjuster, which I've not got, so I'm not sure what to do there. I might just put weld a little tab on for him. And that's about your lot. Then it's just a weld up in situ where we are now. I'll get preheat on a little bit because it's Baltic in here, and we'll give everything a bit of a warm up, and we'll weld what we can as far as we can before we have it off, take the engine out and flip it over and finish welding it up. So as far as making it goes, there's your fucking lot. That is one VN800 rigid frame conversion. And there you have it, perched on its wheels. I don't know what's going on with my voice. And those lights aren't great, are they? But I've welded where I can, dropped the wheels and forks in, and it's just touching the ground at that. So that's about how it's going to sit. No surprises, no dramas. And I'm sure you'll agree it looks much nicer than it did when it came in. So what's left for me to do now is front end out, back end out, engine out. And then we'll get to weld all the bits that we couldn't get to while it was looking how it is now. Sorted. So there you go. Another one ticked off. Thank you so much, Andy. I'm really pleased with that. I'm glad that you came to me so we could sort that out. It pleased me to say, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and a sub. Check out all the bump in the description below, and I will catch you on the next one. Big love, everyone. See you soon.